We have three judges. If the three judges want to very, very briefly, under 30 seconds, introduce themselves, and then I'm going to put them backstage. And then we're going to introduce the main four as well. And then we're going to get the debates popping. So before anything, Vic, tell everyone who you are really quickly and what you think about this tournament, bro.
Hi, my name's Victor. I didn't judge last time in the semifinals, and I'm just very excited to be here.
Perfect, Victor. Thanks. Nice, short, and sweet. Glad to have you. I'm going to put you backstage. To everyone watching, Victor is going to be very vital because he's going to be one of the three official judges for this. See you soon, Victor. We'll talk soon. So we've got JJ Solomon, the man himself, the best studio in all of the boxing community. Spit Bucket Podcast. How have you been, brother? Talk to us briefly before these debates start.
Fantastic. I'm excited. This is JJ at the Spit Bucket Podcast on all platforms. Give me a follow. I was having technical difficulties last time, so I couldn't really participate besides submitting my scores. But just know we're in for a fire semifinal today. All four of the gentlemen are extremely talented. I've got me a blank slate. I'm just ready for a great day of debate. So appreciate you having me on, Max, and I'm looking forward to it.
100%. It's always an honor to have you here, man, and we appreciate it. We're excited to see how you score these matches.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. And final one, Homa Boxing. Thanks as well for subbing in and coming in last minute to judge these matches. Can you quickly introduce yourself, and then we're going to start these debates.
Oh yeah, no, hello. This is HOB Homo Boxing. I'm glad to be here again. I competed in the tournament, but I didn't make it. But no, now I'm glad to be a judge, and I'm here. I'm here to see how this goes. I'm excited, and can't wait.
Yes, sir. Appreciate having you, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, my friend. All right, we've got our four finalists now. Really looking forward to this. I'm going to quickly have the guys that are going second introduce themselves first. So, Blunts and Boxing. Can you quickly introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are, how it's been for you in the tournament, etc.?
Blunts and Boxing. I do the weekly wrap up where we go through the news of what happened in the sport of boxing. That we do that every week on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So far, this tournament's been very interesting. I'm extremely excited to go against last season's winner. So let's get this started.
Cannot wait, brother. We're excited to have you involved. I'm going to put you backstage, but we'll see you very soon to be competing against the man himself, How Boxing Works. How Boxing Works, the one and only champ of the last debate. He's coming back to be double champ. How are you feeling, my friend? And talk to us a little bit briefly. Introduce yourselves to the people that somehow don't know.
Nice to meet you all. My name is Elijah. I'm a boxing reporter, owner of How Boxing Works LLC. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. I love to debate boxing, and I'm confident today. And I want to just be able to really showcase my ability to kind of maneuver whatever debate I'm talking about in my favor, no matter what stance I'm on. So I'm just excited to debate with you guys, talk about boxing, and find out who's moving on.
Tremendous, my friend. We're glad to have you back competing once again, and we'll see you debating very soon.
Thanks.
All righty. The first matchup. Quickly introduce yourselves, fellas. We'll go with Lloyd Sports first. Lloyd, how are you feeling? Tell everyone about your last debate, etc. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. Salute to the panel. Salute to Max. Name is Saint, founder of Lloyd Sports, a purpose-driven talent and sports agency. Outside of that, I believe I have some projects to add to the sport of boxing and will be a benefit. In terms of the debate, this will be my second. Last week was my first. I seen this opportunity to enter the space and just talk some boxing with you guys. So I figured, why not?
Much appreciated, Lloyd. We're glad to have you here. You did a great job in your last debate, and you're taking on a very formidable challenger. He got second place in the last debate. He's here to claim the throne this time. My good friend, Billionaire Boxing TV, BBTV. How are you feeling, my friend? Tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your journey competing in these debates.
Man, I am feeling great on this Sunday. This is BBTV, and I'm back again for the win, bro. I appreciate you for having me again, Max. I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. We're about to get started. Thank you so much for being here as well. All right, judges, pay close attention because the moment of truth is about to begin. We have our four topics, and we have our tiebreaker in case it ends up being a draw. So we will start off with the first topic. The topic is, would Naoya Inoue be pound for pound number one in any era? We'll start off Lloyd Sports. Would Naoya Inoue be pound for pound number one in any era? Your stance and your argument. You'll have a minute, give or take. Go a little over if you want. You can begin in 3, 2, 1, start.
All right, yes, Naoya Inoue. My stance was he's elite in any era, but not an automatic number one in any era. Few reasons for that. Again, we can't rewrite history, and the ones that came before must get credit and get acknowledged. For him to be number one in any era, that would include little weights guys such as Willie Pep, Salvador Sanchez, Alexis Arguello, so he can't just leap these guys and be number one. I would say he would be definitely in the pound for pound, but not number one in any era.
Perfect, Lloyd. Thank you for that. That's Lloyd's initial stance on would Naoya Inoue be pound for pound number one in any era. Now, Billionaire Boxing, your separate opinion. Begin at 6:30 and go to 7:30, give or take. Begin.
All right, so making Inoue number one pound for pound in any era wouldn't discredit any of those guys you just named. Inoue is one of the only 3 male boxers alongside Crawford and Usyk to become undisputed in 2 weight classes during the 4-belt era, okay? Inoue maintains an 84% KO ratio while moving through 4 weight classes. Most legendary number one pound for pound fighters like Floyd Mayweather had a 54%. Sugar Ray, 62%. They saw their power diminish as they rose in the weight. Inoue has actually become more effective against larger men. His 2025 campaign came with 4 defenses of his undisputed championship title, a feat we haven't seen since Larry Holmes in 1983. He has defeated 16 current or former world pound champions in 32 fights. Nearly 80% of his fights have been spent in world title bouts. Inoue is the first Japanese fighter in history to come pound for pound by Ring Magazine. Fulton, undefeated unified champ. Donaire, 4-division legend Hall of Famer. Akhmadaliev, former unified champ. Louis Neary, former 2-division champ. Marlon Tapales, unified champ. Omar Navarez, 2-division champ. Emmanuel Rodriguez, undefeated IBF champ. TJ Doheny, former IBF champ. If being number one is about beating the most champions, what is it about?
Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the comment, rolling with the punch as well. Much appreciated. Okay, so Billionaire Boxing makes his point. Went a little bit over, but no worries because we're being a little bit looser at the time. We're going to have about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, whatever feels more natural, back and forth discussion. Lloyd Sports, you can go first. Begin in 3, 2, 1. Begin.
Okay, let's start back. Again, elite in any era, but just not number one in every era. That's just a different bar to me. You could respect his greatness without trying to rewrite history. I named a couple of guys. You've been naming a few. I could continue on with lower weight guys who are also in the pound for pound, if not number one.
See, my thing is, Lloyd, you don't have to discredit any of those guys. The question is, could he be number one in any era? What hasn't he done? I just reviewed his whole resume, damn near. What hasn't he done that says he?
You mentioned undisputed, which is huge, but any era, that means he's competing with the other guys in the era who didn't have a chance to have undisputed at their hands, and I bet if so, they would accomplish the same feat.
All right, so with that being said, if you can eliminate half those guys who didn't have that chance, where would that put him on your pound for pound list?
He would be elite in the era. You can't automatically say number one. You're ignoring the other history that was written by the other gentleman.
Like I said, you don't have to diminish the history to make him number one pound for pound. So let me ask you a question.
So right, don't make it automatic. He's definitely pound for pound, just not number one automatic. That ignores the greatness.
If a fighter moves through 4 divisions, knocks out 85% of his opponents, becomes undisputed twice, and remains undefeated after 27 world title fights, what more could he possibly do to be number one?
Every era has a different standard. You mentioned undisputed. Him going through these ranks were for him to be undisputed, something that was not available to past fighters. again, I wouldn't just say he's automatically number one in any era, but he's definitely
I mean, you
pound
just
for
got to
pound
remember,
in every
Undisputed
era.
look different for past fighters. Undisputed went from a one belt era to a 2-belt era. I mean, they all had their opportunity. It's just what he's doing right now is greatness.
Automatically putting him over guys like Sugar Ray Robinson, Willie Pep. We just automatically putting him over guys who accomplished a lot in the sport.
Definitely, but when you put resume against resume, I mean, look at what he's doing at 32. He's still going.
Right. So and that's where I want to end at. Where he is currently at, he still has a chance to paint his canvas, and we should allow that. So for us to say he's number one in every era when he's not even done yet, that's just a slap in the face to the history.
Hey,
again, let's not make it automatic number one. Let's just say
let's go off what you said though, Lloyd. They didn't have Undisputed as accessible as they do now. You said that, right? So you can take him and sit him in any era, and he's gonna shine. You know why? Because he's the only one that would have done it.
And I agreed. I opened up saying he's elite in any era, but automatic number one in every era. That's debatable, you know. And that's why we're here.
Everything they did, he's cleaning out his weight classes. He's doing everything that they used to do. The sediments of old school is wrapped around in a way. So I think I beg to differ, brother.
Guys, give me 30 more seconds, and then that'll be it for this round. Continue.
I'm closed out.
Okay. Well, again, he still has time to improve, more accolades, more accomplishments. So I just wouldn't say at the current moment he's number one in every era, but he's definitely pound for pound in every era.
All right, we're good, fellas. Much appreciated, guys. Round one comes to a close. All three judges, send me your scorecard through messages on X. It'd be much appreciated. I need them as soon as possible. So send me your scorecard after round number one, who you scored it for and how. Round number two, here we go, fellas. So next topic. Are modern champions protected too long before unifications? And specifically, are they more, I'm not going to say are they more or less, but is it an issue where they're protected too often, or it's just them being guided a certain way? So are modern champions protected too long before unifications? Billionaire Boxing, your stance and your argument. You have a minute. Begin.
So the distinction between being guided and being protected lies in the intent. Guiding the fighter is about building their skill. Guiding the fighter is about building their skill and exposing them to different styles of fighters. Protecting the fighter is about shielding marketability to avoid an opponent who has a realistic chance of winning. My stance is today, in the modern era, we aren't seeing boxers being seasoned. We're seeing brand management at the expense of the sport's integrity. Modern promoters treat a fighter's undefeated record like a fragile glass vase, y'all. If a fighter is truly guided toward a unification, the difficulty of their opponents should rise moderately. Fighters today stay undefeated against safe opponents to demand a 60-40 split in negotiations. If you are only fighting people you are stylistically guaranteed to beat, you aren't being guided, you are being curated. A fighter who is guided is prepared for the best. The fighters today aren't taking risks unless there is money involved. If there is no money involved, they are not fighting. They are not being guided, they are being protected. That's my argument.
Appreciate it. Now, Lloyd Sports, you'll have about a minute or so to respond or give your own separate opinion. Begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so the guided and protected, which is kind of the same effect. We get delays and we get what we call marination. So I believe they're on the same boat, but my stance was it's more guided than protected. I just don't believe that champs are scared or protected. It's more so a lot of guys are managed for timing. They going through top rank diet, that what we like to call it, which is opponent selection for the ones who don't understand that. Pricing on fights, network timing, rankings for the belts. All of these variables play into it. So it would take a lot for just one to say, oh, it's a protection. It's also a guidance through what the people who have an investment to these fighters. So I hate to just say they're just protected, but both reasons result in the same thing. We get delayed fights. Point example, Spencer Crawford took years for that to happen. You know, something that I followed very dearly. You know, Top Rank and PBC rarely work together. The politics got in the way of that, and I wouldn't say that was protection. That was definitely guided. And if you know, you know. So I would just say they both do the same thing, which is delay what we want to see, and that's unifications, a champion versus champion, and things of that nature. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, Billionaire, you begin the back and forth conversation. 3, 2, 1.
The reason I say, I mean, when you use the word guided, I think about a old man walking his son through the grass field, teaching him about the trees and the butterflies and stuff. These champions are past that point. When I say they're being protected, you got guys like Virgil Ortiz suing his promoter because he actually wants a fight. But Oscar putting pressure on the other guy saying, if this don't happen, we gonna move on. How many more clear cut? I mean, that PBC versus Top
Protection
Rank almost would have
lies with fear, and I don't think it's that. For the Oscar situation, it's more so a financial time, and as you could see, he started off the whole thing with numbers, right? 60-40. That's like financial. I wouldn't say it's fear, as what you're alluding to being protected. I would say, again, it's both, which result to the same thing. We don't get the fights we want to get. They take forever.
Ties into it, Lloyd, because they want enough money to cushion the ass whooping. That's all it's about.
But protection isn't never fighting, though. Exactly. It's only when the fight. It's only when it benefits.
Could you argue that Victor Ortiz is probably the biggest name right now on Golden Boy? Could you agree?
That ask the question again.
Is Victor? Could you agree that Virgil Ortiz is the biggest? I said Victor Ortiz. My bad. Virgil Ortiz is the biggest name on Golden Boy right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's one of the biggest names for sure.
So for sure, with Boots being the guy as dangerous as he is, you wouldn't argue that Oscar is trying to protect his commodity, his asset.
Protected is more so on the lines of fear. It's not solely that. You could also look at it in a sense of guided, because he wants the best for his fighter and the business. Don't forget about that. You're forgetting not just the fighter, but his business, and that's Golden Boy, So
I feel like Virgil's taking the stance of being guided. Virgil's trying to walk away and guide himself in a different direction, while Oscar's trying to protect something else. It's evident whatever's going on with Oscar, because all the fighters, when they get to a certain point, they got.
So what would happen if he leaves Golden Boy, ends up somewhere else, and the fight still happens? Is it still protected then? I don't think so. That's why I wouldn't say it's solely protected, because they have guidance in the fighter's career.
Because you got to remember, to answer your question, he had to leave Golden Boy. You just said it. If that fight still happens, he had to leave Golden Boy. Oscar just said they were moving on.
Right. And the reason why, again, Oscar wants best for his fighter and the business. So he may want a little more piece of whatever that is going on for his business.
He's protecting something and guiding something, brother.
I think it's both, man. I wouldn't solely say it's protected, and they both result into the same. We don't get the fights we want to get when we want to get them.
Anything else to add, fellas?
And if they were protected, in other scenarios, a lot of people thought certain fighters were protected. They still end up fighting. Again, it's a guidance thing.
If the goal is guiding a fighter to eventually reach a unification, why does it only happen when there's no other options left to make money? That's all I'm saying.
All right, I guess we're good for now. All right, judges, send me your scorecards for round number 2 as soon as you can. Much appreciated. Round 2 has come to a close. Heading into round number 3, next topic. Who is the most ducked fighter of the last 20 years? Specifically, who is more ducked in the last 20 years between Terence Crawford and Gennady Golovkin? So, Lloyd Sports, who do you believe is more ducked between Terence Crawford and Gennady Golovkin, and why? 1 minute, give or take. Begin. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And how ironic. Salute to Bud, enjoying his retirement party last night. I caught some of the shoulder content on Fight Hype. But anywho, yes, definitely Bud Crawford, the most ducked, because it wasn't just fighters. It was politics. Blocked prime matchups that could have happened for himself and his resume, which a lot of people like to point at. The business of boxing got in the way for Crawford, and I believe that alluded to him being ducked. And sometimes one would say his own promotional company blocked fights for himself. And we know one of the biggest names at the time that Bud Crawford could have fought was on the same promotional team that he was on. So the politics in itself blocked a lot of prime matchups for Crawford. So I would say that being said, he is the most ducked the last 20 years.
Okay, and thank you for that. Billionaire Boxing, your opinion as well. Triple G or Crawford, most ducked fighter of the last 20 years? 3, 2, 1, begin.
So Crawford was avoided because of promotional beefs, all right? PBC versus Top Rank. Triple G was avoided because of fear. During his prime, Triple G was on he had a 23 KO streak at one point, all right? I'm going to give you an example. Felix Sturm. Triple G was his mandatory. For years, Sturm and his promoters repeatedly paid step-aside fees to avoid Triple G and take lesser fights. Sergio Martinez, the lineal middleweight king at the time, never mentioned Triple G's name, despite Triple G being the clear #1 contender. When Cotto held the WBC middleweight title, he famously fought Daniel Gill at catchweight, and then he fought Canelo, completely bypassing Triple G as his mandatory. In 2015, after beating Cotto, Canelo became the WBC champ. He then, instead of fighting Triple G, he vacated the belt, basically handing it to him. And then he didn't want to fight him until 2017 after the Daniel Jacobs fight, and they seen that he was a little human. Opponents avoid Crawford because he's a stylistic nightmare that can make you look stupid. They avoid Triple G because he was a physical nightmare. Most importantly, Terrence Crawford has expressed on numerous occasions that he was being blocked from big fights because of Bob Arum mishandling his business. And that's my end.
Thank you for that, Billionaire. Much appreciated. Now we're going to have back and forth conversation on this issue. Crawford versus Triple G, who was more ducked in the last 20 years. Lloyd, begin in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, most definitely. You have some points. Triple G has some, he has a real case. And you alluded to the Canelo. He vacated the WBC belt rather than fighting him. Then that mega fight got delayed. But again, Crawford's situation is more so an entire stable plus networks. The whole promoters keeping biggest fights off the table.
Right. That's why I'm glad you brought that
by a
up.
whole business structure and opponents is different. Opponents can only handle one part of the fight. Then you have businesses that get in the way of having fights even happening. That's more in the line of ducking more than just a fighter.
When we talk about ducked over 20, he's pretty much been Fight Hub after the Sean Porter fight, November 21st, 2021. Quote, Bob couldn't secure the Spence fight. I was with him, so now I'm going to leave and see how I can handle it without him. End quote. Earn Your Leisure, August 16th, 2023. He couldn't deliver the fights that I wanted because of his relationships with other promotions. It's obvious after he left, he started winning. He started having a good time, making the money he wanted to see. So it's safe to say that Top Rank is mishandling his business. He's been very vocal about it. But when
business blocks competition, that's ducking without fear.
Right. So
as you mentioned before, GBG was avoided by some fighters. It's real, but the whole ecosystem blocked Crawford.
You picked the wrong fighter for this.
Not one or two opponents.
Not being avoided by business. Triple G was avoided by
the whole ecosystem blocked Crawford, not just one or two opponents.
People duck Triple G. Name me somebody that ducked Bud.
Well, we got a plethora of names. We got guys saying, go get a belt. One.
Where they
We
at?
got
Name
guys
it.
saying you're on the
Go
wrong
go
side of the
name
street.
it.
They created the wrong side of the street for
Come
Bud
on now,
Crawford.
you'll be a good filibuster in the Congress. I need a name. Give me a
They
name.
created the wrong side of the street for Bud Crawford.
You doing everything but giving me a name. Come on now.
When was I would hate to say the name of the fighters. I actually
Sergio
admire Keith
Martinez. I
Thurman.
just gave you one.
I actually admire Keith
Miguel
Thurman,
Cotto.
Danny Garcia,
I,
Earl Spence. I admire these guys. I
gave
hate
you
to say
3
the
names.
names, but
All I'm saying is, Lloyd,
again, they created a
I
whole
see where your
turn
love
for
for
Bud
Bud come
Crawford.
from, but you picked the wrong fighter, brother. Triple G was avoided for
They created a whole turn for Bud Crawford, man.
For real.
You're on the wrong side of the street. That was never a turn until Bud Crawford got into the 147-pound division
We talking about being
and
avoided. We ain't talking about no business.
and went after the top dog. We all remember backstage when Earl said, "Why would I go this route when I can go this route? Sean Porter route, and go that way." And then he said this remarkable thing that I always remember before the fight, July 2023. He said, "And when I stopped you, they didn't say you was at the wait too long."
That was half an example. I
Look for Bud Crawford, man. The most dust fighter the last 20 years.
Half of example. This is done. We talking about being avoided. You keep talking about business. It's over.
Anything else to add, or you guys are done?
I'm good.
All right. Judges, send me your scorecards for round number 3. It'd be much appreciated. Round 3 comes to a close. Oh, shoot. Was I on mute the whole time? I apologize.
Yeah, you muted yourself.
So round 3 comes to a close. Judges, please send me your scorecards. Much appreciated. As soon as you guys can. We're heading into the final round, round number 4. Should boxing move toward a league or season-based format or stay as it is right now? Billionaire Boxing TV, you begin on your stance. 3, 2, 1, begin.
All right, so I just want to say moving into a league format isn't just a business change, it's a step backward in the era of cohesive contracts that the Ali Act was designed to abolish. A league format creates monopsony, one buyer for one labor. In a league like the UFC, the organization acts as the promoter, the broadcaster, and the ranking body. In the current fragmented boxing model, top promoters must compete for talent in competition, and it forces them to pay out 50 to 80% of event revenue to fighters. In the UFC league model, fighters reportedly receive 16 to 20% of revenue. Accountability to a league office is euphemism for loss of bargaining power. Boxers make more because they are independent contractors, y'all. In the competitive market, league athletes are employees in a control market. In a league, athletes are employees in a control market. All right. Prior to the recent changes to the Ali Act, federal law in the U.S. specifically prohibits the league model you said made sense. The Ali Act mandated a wall between the people who promoted the fights and the people who ranked the fighters. Under the Ali Act, promoters must disclose revenue to a fighter. In a league, the organization can hide however much money they make. At the end of the day, we are taking a step backwards if we ever decide to go into a league direction. And you said it made sense. That's it.
Thank you, Billionaire. Much appreciated. Lloyd Sports, 1 minute or so. Begin in 3, 2, 1.
This is a great topic, but my stance was season. Definitely don't believe in the league because that strips the identity from the fabrics of the sport, which I believe in, and that is the sanctioning bodies, which a lot of people, I know they catch a lot of flack, and that's a big thing at the moment, but I don't think they should be away. I just think they need to be held more accountable. So yeah, back to it. Yeah, I think we're on the same page of this, but I can still give my stance on it, or do we have?
Well, it was league or season, so you guys can, instead of arguing league, you guys can purely argue season.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good. Yeah, so I agree with you. League is more so monopoly based.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Billionaire, I can hear you.
Hold on, I can't hear you, bro. Hold on, I'm gonna leave out and come back in.
Yeah, you can leave and rejoin. Lloyd, if you could just hang tight just for a brief amount, just so he doesn't miss any of your points. But yeah, basically for this one, just argue season instead of league. You guys still disagree on this, on it being a season-based format, so it won't be much of an issue.
Gotcha.
Let's just get him back in there. We've got final round here, and then the next matchup, Blunts versus How Boxing Works. Here we go. Billions, can you hear?
Yeah, I'm back. I can hear you now. Damn,
All right.
somebody shot me a call, bro. My bad.
No worries, you're good, man. So Lloyd's going to argue season instead of leagues because the prompt was league-based or season-based compared to the way it is now. So he's going to argue season-based instead of league-based. So go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, like I was saying. So yeah, season-based, season format, I would say, because a league is just risky. A lot of monopoly, and I don't think that's where boxing should be. I think we just need more accountability on the sanctioning bodies, the ranking system, and give fans clarity and more fighters activity. So more season-based. I remember, currently Matchroom and DAZN is doing it where there's like a whole schedule for 6 to 8 months of fights. PBC was rolling for a while with schedules. And if there's more of that, then I believe we wouldn't need a league. Boxing is built on independence, and removing that, I just don't think it's right for the sport. So yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that. So now back and forth conversation. As I said before, go up to 2 minutes. If it goes a little longer, no problem. Billionaire Boxing TV, begin. 3, 2, 1.
All right, so I guess I have to come a little different. Season. So I guess my question to you: would you rather sign a $50 million contract, 35 guaranteed up front, 15 over 4 years, or would you rather make $10,000 a day for the rest of your life? Or 10,000 to just be your base? What sounds more better to you?
Definitely the first one sounds better, but there's also things that come with the first one. Certain things you can't do, say, and we know how those contracts work. Say if you may get hurt, you don't see all your, it's just a lot that comes with monopoly, which is what sounds like you're referring to. But I just say more structure without stripping like I said earlier, the fabrics of the sport. Just don't strip that.
Boxing is just in a strange place right now. So the last thing we need is any more type of leagues or seasons or any type of, they need to get their shit together. Like what they got going on right now needs to get fixed. So once we figure this out, then we can lean towards some other type of strategy, but it's all over the place.
And by season format, I just mean more scheduling. Scheduling is like a season. It gives fans more clarity and it gives fighters activity.
That's what I mean, though.
And that's all to it. You don't need to remove sanctioning bodies to add a season. If you add a league, though, you would then have to.
The promoters don't even have a broadcasting network. So how can we move towards anything else when we can't even see the fights that we want to see?
Part of that is a lot of greed, and we seen somebody came into the game, the market, as I like to say, a new player was added in 2023, Your Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, and now we see the market has shifted again. Again, I just don't think a league is going to fix boxing. I think having more season format, which is another word for more scheduling, so fans can know what fights to expect and fighters can stay active.
I mean, right now, we don't even know what fights to expect. So like I say, man, they just got to go ahead and get their stuff together.
No, I mentioned before, Matchroom and DAZN have a full schedule. We definitely know what to expect this whole January. We got some fights to expect this week coming up. We got Morataya versus Andy Cruz. Actually, both Andys, interesting enough. Khalil Cole versus Jesse Hart. A banger, in my opinion. We got some guys on that. Madrimov making his return on that card. That's just one card. Then we have a plethora of other cards later this month, as I'm sure you know. And that's on schedule. We just need more of that from each promotional company. And I don't think a league is needed for that.
No network, no top rank, PBC, where they at. Like we have promotional companies who ain't really.
Well,
you know.
Tubi is the network currently. Something that is free, and that kind of helps, to have something. But what I like about Top Rank at the moment is they're allowing their fighters to get on other platforms, while they figure, the situation out. And you mentioned PBC, Amazon. They haven't released the schedule per se yet. But their fighters as well as fighting on other platforms. We got Mario Barrios fighting Ryan Garcia February 21st. Looking forward to that. But that's on schedule. So yeah, just more of a season format, which alludes to more scheduling for us fans and fighters.
Any final points, fellas? I think we're good. All right. Round 4 comes to a close. All 3 judges send me your scorecards for the final round, round number 4, as soon as possible, and we'll see if we get an official verdict. So good stuff from both of you guys. Really entertaining debate, really back and forth. You both definitely know your stuff. So I'm glad we were able to have you guys competing against each other. So let's see. Just need one more scorecard. Waiting for the last card to come in. All right, let me add these guys in one moment. So we have our official decision. We go to the score totals. Vic scores about 38 even. Home of Boxing scores about 40-37. And Spit Bucket Podcast scores about 40-36 for our winner by majority decision. Billionaire Boxing TV gets the job done by majority decision victory. Congratulations to BBTV and great stuff from Lloyd Sports. I'm going to add the judges on stage. Stay with me just for a moment, fellas. Add. Thank you, guys. That was a great debate. So we have our outcome. We have majority decision victory for Billionaire Boxing TV. We can go in chronological order. In order from where they are on the screen. Home of Boxing, explain your scorecard. You told me you had it 40-37 for Billionaire Boxing TV. Quickly tell us about that.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I had it 40-37. I had it pretty close. The first, I'll score it round by round, actually. For the first question, Lloyd was giving out good points, how you can't rewrite history, talking about old boxers, naming them. And then BBT gave out facts on Inoue. He gave out percentages and statistics about Inoue. And he explained his resume as well, which made me give that round a 10-10 round. It was actually a close one. They both gave out good points and didn't really know who the clear winner was on that one. And then for round 2, was that the Crawford? I'm pretty sure that was.
I believe it was Crawford. No, I don't think that was. I think round 2 was.
Was being guided and protected, right?
Yeah, boxers being guided and protected. Yeah.
And then BBT, he was giving out good facts, giving out good points, the difference of guided and protected, while Lloyd was talking about the business side, and that really was a good rebuttal by BBT when he explained about that you're more talking about business than really about being guided. And then the round 3, the Triple G and Terrence Crawford. Lloyd, he gave out good details about politics and the business as well. And Triple G and BBT was explaining how Triple G was scaring fighters actually away due to his power, which he was actually explaining how fighters are ducking him, and Lloyd wasn't able to really name any fighters that ducked Crawford. And then
he did, just not right away, but he eventually got to some.
And then he did. And then the last round format or the season one, Lloyd took it at the end. BBT didn't really know how to or what to say anymore. He was kind of just stuck on that one. But it was a close one overall. So you guys did all good.
Thank you for that. Much appreciated, brother. Vic, you scored. I'm gonna put you backstage, by the way. Vic, you scored the match a draw, 38-38. Can you quickly explain this back and forth you scored?
Yeah, I thought it was really close. I gave the first one to Billionaire because I like the points he made about Inoue, basically saying like, what else does he have to do? I kind of agree. I mean, I already think he's like pound for pound could be in any era type. And then I also like Billionaire's point about Golovkin when he brought up the stats with that. I think I liked his point, and I agreed with him. And then I gave the other two to Lloyd. So.
Gotcha. Thank you, Victor. We'll see you for the finals. I'm going to put you backstage. And JJ Solomon, you had it 40-36 for Billionaire Boxing. Can you break down your scorecard for us, please, brother? Much appreciated.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go round by round. I don't want to rush this because I think Lloyd did a tremendous job last week, and I think he did a good job today. 40-36 card. You usually think that's an ass whooping, and I still think Lloyd did a good job. But I have some notes here. It seemed like on round one, I actually gave a 10-8 round for Billionaire because how he came out. In fact, it was a flash knockdown, but he came out dropping names, dropping percentages, and it was great. I feel like he caught him off guard, but it seemed like Lloyd was focusing on automatic. And I think that the topic was, could Inoue be pound for pound in any generation or any era? Am I right? Or I think that was that not the topic?
I can find the exact phrasing in the chat that I put in. We did. You could continue talking while I look for it.
All right, cool. So
I got it. It would be would Naoya Inoue be pound for pound number one in any era?
Yeah, and I feel like the question was kind of, a hypothetical, and Lloyd kept focusing on automatic. I think Billionaire did a hell of a job of explaining why we have Inoue at pound for pound number one and why he's such a monster with the numbers, with everything. Round two was a great round. I just think Billionaire kind of stole it at the end when he asked that last question about, why do we wait to the last minute when there's no other options for unifications? That was a hell of a round. That was my favorite round, but I gave it to Billionaire. Round three between Triple G and Bud, that was a super difficult one. And honestly, when Lloyd came out and said Bud was being ducked by politics and fighters, I like that. But then Billionaire came back and broke down how Triple G was more feared. He was genuinely feared, and it had nothing to do with politics. So I gave that one to Billionaire. And then round four was a 10-10 round because Billionaire didn't offer a lot of substance, and Lloyd was focusing more on scheduling more than a season. When I think of season, I think of a league champion. I think of rankings at the end of a season, and I think of an off season. When Lloyd seemed to be focused more on scheduling. So I didn't really have a winner for that round. But both guys did a hell of a job. I know the score doesn't reflect it, but I just try to go round by round without thinking about anything else.
Thank you very much, Spit Bucket. Much appreciated. We'll see you in the finals, and thank you for your breakdown. Much appreciated.
Good job, fellas.
All right. Lloyd Sports, you end up coming a bit short in a majority decision defeat. You still did a really good job. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the matchup and just your overall assessment after being in the tournament, my friend.
No, for sure. Salute, Max. Salute the judges. Salute the whole panel. Salute Billionaire. Hell of a debater. Definitely enjoyed it. Like I said, my second one. And I definitely want to be back, man. I love the topics. I love what you guys are doing for the sport. And, I can't wait to see who ends up on top this year.
Much appreciated, my friend. You're more than welcome, 100%. I'll be reaching out to you very soon, and we'll be talking more. So much appreciate that, Saint. You did a great job overall, and we're really glad to have had you. Billionaire Boxing TV with another victory. Mr. Consistency over here pulls off the win. Competitive but deserved majority decision victory. Can you just talk us through about this match and your next week against the winner of the next matchup?
Yeah, bro, I was nervous for this one. Lloyd, I was listening to him against Jack, bro. He really sounded like he deep into boxing. So I was nervous for this one, but I made sure that I was prepared to be ahead of him on everything that we did. I wanted to take advantage of his inexperience in these debates, so I had to get him.
100%, man. We're glad to have had you, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll see you next week in the finals, back-to-back finals, and we'll talk with you soon, brother.
Hopefully I win, man. But until then, this is BBTV. Appreciate you, Max.
Of course, bro. Always. Talk to you soon, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right, brother.
All right, fellas. We head into the final matchup. Billionaire Boxing TV wins by majority decision. It will be advancing to the finals. Now, I don't know why he left the stage. I have one of them. Blunson Boxing. You'll be taking on How Boxing Works. I don't see him. He was just backstage. I think he might be switching devices, but you'll be taking on How Boxing Works. Just want to make sure you're still there, B&B.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Perfect, brother. Here we go. How Boxing Works. You're back as well.
Yeah,
Looking
can hear
forward to
you.
this. You're coming in good. Can you hear? Can everyone hear everyone? That's what matters, because I know there's been some audio issues in the past.
Yes, I can hear.
It's coming in good. HBW, you can hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. So all three judges, be prepared. We're about to begin this debate. We have 4 topics and 1 tiebreaker. I'm looking forward to this one. We're going to get it started. We're going to just start off right away. We're going to begin with topic number 1. We're going to have Blunts go first. Would Canelo Alvarez beat prime Gennady Golovkin decisively if they fought at the same age? Blunts and Boxing, you begin. Minute or so, give or take, begin.
So, no, he wouldn't. The reason being is Canelo struggled to defeat a 36-year-old Gennady Golovkin decisively. So much so that the vast majority of the public felt that Canelo actually lost against a 36-year-old Gennady Golovkin. Canelo was unable to decisively beat Golovkin till he was 40 years old in that super middleweight. So I don't think there is a way that Canelo, if they were the same age, would be able to beat Gennady Golovkin, a prime Gennady Golovkin, on his KO win streak, and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much, B&B. We're going to have HBW respond or give a separate take before responding directly. You'll have a minute or so, give or take. Begin in 3, 2, 1.
I absolutely believe Canelo Alvarez would beat Triple G at any age because he beat him twice. And his punch percentage was higher in every fight. I think that a younger Canelo, say we did them both at the age of 30, or Canelo would be a little bit older than he was in previous fights. But I believe that he would be more durable if he fought him at a different time. He'll be more experienced as well. But we've seen Triple G against it's an accumulation of punches that would break guys down. I think that younger, fresher Canelo is going to be moving more often, making him miss more, and ultimately break down Triple G over time. But he already beat him twice. Something that Triple G has never been able to do. He's never been able to beat Canelo. So it doesn't matter what. He had 3 chances to do it. Being at a younger age, I just think it leads for a more durable Canelo. And it's going to be the same thing that happened every time. And you said that he wasn't able to beat him decisively till he was 40, but he beat him in 2018. So that was decisive because he won. It wasn't a draw. But yeah, he's never been able to beat Canelo. I don't think that he ever will be able to or would have in the past.
All right, thank you for that, HBW. We're going to have back and forth conversation. Blunt, you'll be able to go first. 2 minutes, give or take. Back and forth, begin, B&B. Begin.
So he may have won in the original rematch, and we'll ignore the clenbuterol, but we'll talk about the fact that it was actually a split decision, which means, ironically, that it wasn't decisive. Decisive means a unanimous decision win, in which
decisive means
leaves no doubt.
You won, and there's no doubt. He won the fight. There's no doubt in our mind.
Yes, but there was doubt, even in the second fight. That's what's so ironic about it.
He won the fight. On paper, what is it? How many times does it say Canelo beat Triple G?
And while on paper, that doesn't necessarily mean decisively. The word decisively means without reasonable doubt. And in the first 2 fights, an older, out of prime Gennady Golovkin was able to provide such a challenge that the first one was argued to be a robbery. And the second one was considered to be so close that some people felt Golovkin could have won.
38-year-old Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo?
Well, did we just not see a 36-year-old Canelo struggle with William Skull?
Floyd Mayweather, a guy that's like 5'9", 140, 147 pounds.
Exactly, but was able
to outbox him with his skill and his ability. I don't think a younger, less experienced Triple G is going to be able to do more with a younger, fresher Canelo who's more durable.
Fresher Canelo struggled with lesser opponents than Triple G. He struggled with Austin Trout. He struggled against individuals like Erislandy Louisville.
But got out guys like Billy Joe Sanders, moved up and stopped guys like Kovalev. It beat young, undefeated. beat young undefeated pressure fighters like Benavidez, like Jaime Munguia, similar styles. Come forward, they're putting a bunch of punches in your face.
Very
He beat those
different
guys
fighters. Very
decisively
different fighters
in
than
old
Gennady
age.
Golovkin. We're
Huh?
talking about a silver medalist in the Olympics. We're talking about a gold medalist in the World Championships.
And
We're talking about
a
an
guy that
individual
never
with one
beat
of the
Canelo
best
Alvarez in
amateur
3 fights.
records in
We're
boxing,
talking about a
amateur
guy that
boxing
never
history.
beat Canelo
So
Alvarez in
there's
3 fights. The first super middleweight champion in the history of the sport. So something that Triple G was
and
never able to
Golovkin
do
with the
at
third
160.
longest reign in middleweight boxing history, and we're talking about the golden
Canelo
division in
was
boxing.
pound for pound #1 for 100+ weeks. He was never on Canelo's level. He never will be. That's why
But
he was never able to beat him.
nothing tells us that he would have beaten a
Yes,
younger
we've seen him fight
primer
3 times.
Golovkin
We've
more
seen him fight 3
decisively than he
times.
was able to do against
ha-
a 36
he
and
landed-
38-year-old Golovkin.
He landed
He
at a
was
higher
only able
percentage.
to beat a 40-year-old Golovkin
He
decisively.
landed at a higher
Only
percentage
time.
in all 3 fights.
A
In all 3
40-year-old.
fights, Canelo landed at a higher percentage. I don't think that would have changed with time, just because we've seen it 3 times, and every single time he had a higher punch percentage.
And again, that was against a aging Golovkin. A younger Golovkin had a higher work rate,
More
even better
durability.
footwork,
More durability.
better
38-year-old
durability.
Floyd
Exactly.
Mayweather
We're
could
talking
do
about
it.
Golovkin, who's
A
argued to have one of the best chins in
38-year-old
boxing
Floyd.
history.
38-year-old
So
Floyd Mayweather
that's
could do it.
Yeah, a 38, but that's 2 different styles. We're talking about an elite defensive fighter against an elite pressure boxer.
We've seen Canelo against elite pressure fighters.
And we in boxing history, if you know boxing
Young elite
history, the
pressure
one thing
fighters.
is styles age differently. Highly defensive fighters can last much longer in the sport than pressure fighters, boxer punchers like Gennady Golovkin. That's just how, unfortunately, how it runs. We've never
And
seen elite pressure fighters age
It's
well.
also easy to do that when you're not fighting the strongest competition. You're fighting guys like your best wins are Danny Jacobs and David Lemieux.
Well, that's what's ironic is Danny Jacobs may be Canelo's second best win at middleweight.
Canelo's got 20+ fights in the last 10 years against top 10 guys. So the level of competition isn't even the same. Is nowhere near the same. But to Hammer, it doesn't matter. He never beat him, and he never could. 3 times.
Yes, it may have been 3 times. And again, we're talking about a younger Golovkin. How is he going to beat a younger Golovkin when he struggled to beat a old Golovkin decisively the first 2 times?
He's fresher. He's more
only
durable.
able to defeat Golovkin convincingly against a 40-year-old moving up in weight and look like
You're 35. You're 35. You're supposed to have the
shadow of
skill and the
himself.
IQ to beat the young guy, just like
30
Floyd.
seconds,
But he
guys,
couldn't.
30
And again, 2 different fighters. 2 different fighters with completely 2 different skill sets. So we cannot
Floyd
compare
Mayweather's a
the
little
2.
boy compared to Triple G. Floyd Mayweather's a little boy compared to Triple G. And he ate those punches. Canelo ate every punch Triple G threw. And at a younger age, Canelo's going to be eating it better and moving more.
A younger Canelo is a less experienced Canelo.
Still the same one that
It's
lost to
not
Floyd.
the same one. It's a less experienced, significantly different fighter than the one that fought Triple G at 168 after going undisputed. Significantly different fighter than the one.
Same applies to Triple G. Less experienced Triple G.
Actually, very different because again, 350 amateur fights going to the Olympics. No, very different because Canelo started professional at 15 years old while Gennady Golovkin was going to the height of amateur boxing. Very 2 different paths.
I think we pretty much got that topic done. We went way over, but it's right because it was a good debate. Everyone send your scorecard. Victor, Homa Boxing. I already got Spit Bucket, so I want you to as well, please. It would be much appreciated. All right, topic number 2. Let me make sure I'm on it. The topic is who has the best resume of the modern era? And you guys both named a fighter. I asked in the chat to make sure that you guys are fine with this particular one. Canelo Alvarez again versus Manny Pacquiao on this issue. So how boxing works, you can begin, minute or so, give or take. Who has the best resume of the modern era?
Canelo's beaten Hall of Famers like Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Triple G, Lara, Trout, Danny Jacobs, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders. Um, uh, in his and even the losses that he had were to Hall of Famers in Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol. Um, he's conquered 4 divisions, winning 19 world titles across all of them. Something that more than Manny Pacquiao. Not only that, he's the first undisputed super middleweight champion in history. Something Manny Pacquiao was never able to accomplish. Being undisputed means you fought guys in their prime, and when you were supposed to. Not going undisputed means you didn't beat guys in their prime. I think that it's quality from Canelo over quantity from Manny Pacquiao. Canelo's fought 20 plus times since 2015 against top 10 opponents, avoiding tune-ups. Pacquiao had gaps and losses to lesser fighters like Jeff Horn and Adonis Ugas late in his career. Even experts like Teddy Atlas rank Canelo's resume higher in the 4-belt era because it's more belts means it's harder path to unification. So that's all I have for that. But he's never been able to go undisputed, and that's the highest accomplishment in boxing. That means that you fought the best when you were supposed to in their prime, and Manny Pacquiao never did that.
Thank you, How Boxing Works. Much appreciated. Blunts and Boxing, a minute or so, give or take. 3, 2, 1, begin.
So we're talking about the better resume. When you're looking at better resume, Manny Pacquiao, 8 divisions. And across those 8 divisions became lineal champion in 4 of those divisions, i.e. meaning you beat the best fighter in that division, the number 1 guy. Did that in 4 divisions. And if you look across it, in reality, Manny Pacquiao fought 26 world champions throughout his career. Canelo, 20. You look at it again. Across those 8 divisions, Manny Pacquiao faced 9 Hall of Famers. And these are Hall of Famers in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, not the State Boxing Hall of Fame. And Manny Pacquiao beat 8 of those guys. So when you look at who has the better resume of the modern era, it's without reasonable doubt that it's Manny Pacquiao.
All right. Thank you very much for that as well. Back and forth conversation. How Boxing Works. You go first. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Back to your point, Canelo's beaten more Hall of Famers. We can add them all up. I think it's 11. Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Triple G twice. Lara, Austin Trout.
Lara's not a Hall of Famer. Austin Trout's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh, you don't think Lara's going to Hall of Fame?
He's not.
Okay.
Well, he's just not. That's the reality. You're putting in people without even being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, their careers aren't over yet. Their careers aren't over yet.
9 Hall of Famers.
So you also said that Canelo's only fought 20 champions and Pacquiao's 23. Canelo's not done. Career's not over yet.
No, in fact, it looks 35. Very much so over. Looks very much so over.
He's fighting in September.
And the reality is,
he's fighting in September.
Pacquiao was rumored to be facing Rolly Romero for a title, was he not? So there's nothing telling us that Manny Pacquiao could continue to thrive. Yes, and a fight that, again, a vast majority of the public felt like he won.
And he didn't.
So that's the thing. We're seeing a 40-plus-year-old Manny Pacquiao who actually broke records and continues to break them to somehow have less of a record than Canelo, who actually has been looking to be aged more than Pacquiao did at the same age, ironically. But we look at the resume. I'll break it down. Marco Antonio Barrera, Hall of Famer. Juan Manuel Marquez, Hall of Famer. And these guys were all pound-for-pound ranked fighters, not just ranked top 5.
These guys' careers are over, so we can't even.
Again, Eric Morales, Hall of Famer. David Diaz, not a Hall of Famer. Ricky Hatton, Hall of Famer. Miguel Cotto, Hall of Famer. Joshua Clottey, not a Hall of Famer. Antonio Margarito, Shane Mosley, Hall of Famer. Timothy Bradley, Hall of Famer. Brandon Rios, Chris Algieri, Floyd Mayweather, the GOAT. Jesse Vargas, Jeff Horn, Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, Udonis Ugas, Mario Barrios. We're talking about dudes.
I want to leave my last point. I want to leave my last point. Canelo has been pound for pound #1 for 100+ weeks. Manny Pacquiao only 50+ weeks. That alone lets you know that every ranking system in the world has put his resume over his for a longer period of time, and his career isn't even over yet.
That does not
He has
mean
been pound for pound
being
number
ranked
one,
pound for pound number one means you
double
are
the
the
amount of
best.
time that Pacquiao did in his entire career.
Because
and
you know
Canelo's
why?
not even done yet.
Because he was behind Floyd Mayweather, which is
No,
not
it's
his
because the
fault. But
level
he was often considered to be in
19
between
world,
with
hold on.
Floyd when Floyd was
Canelo's not
taking
done.
his time
Canelo's
off.
not done. Who's
Was
got
number
more world
one.
titles? Who's got more world titles? 19 to 18. Your career's
And
already over.
who won
Your
more
career's
lineal
already over.
titles, which is with
I already
telling
passed you. I
in
already passed
lineal
you, and I'm not
versus the
even
idea of
retired.
undisputed.
I already
Lineal
passed you, and I'm not
means
even
more
retired.
in boxing history than ever undisputed has ever.
I've been
Because
number
lineal
one
means you
longer
beat
than
the
you have.
number one guy in the weight class, and you beat
This is
the
per Ring Magazine. So
crown
your argument
guy
earlier,
within the weight class.
was about the lineal champion. This is the people that make the rankings for the lineal champion at Ring Magazine. They ranked Canelo nearly double over pound for pound number one over everybody in the sport of boxing.
Again, Floyd Mayweather was number one at that point in time. That does not diminish what Pacquiao had done at being number two and widely considered just as good as Floyd. No, it does not.
Number one. You aren't number
No,
one.
it does not.
And regardless, you're already retired, and I've done more than you. I'm not retired yet. And I got more world titles than you did.
Manny Pacquiao is not retired
already. I've been undisputed already.
Again, he was just rumored to be facing Rolly Romero for another world title.
Undisputed means you are the undisputed best in the world.
How is Canelo, who's only beaten 20 world champions, going to catch up to 26?
You just said it was 20
for
and
Manny
23.
Pacquiao.
You just said it was 20 and 23. Canelo's only 35 years old.
26 world champions
Canelo's got a good 5 years left
for Manny Pacquiao and only 20 for Canelo.
Canelo's got a good 5 years left in the tank, and I don't see him fighting anything below a world
I don't
champion.
think there's one person in boxing, and that includes the most respected pundits in the sport, believe Canelo has another 6 years, solely based off of the drop that he has had. Manny Pacquiao never had that drop at 36 years old.
Atlas says that Canelo's got a better resume, and he's been watching boxing a lot longer than both of us.
I don't know if I believe that. Why is Teddy saying that? Because we're talking about Teddy, who actually hates Canelo and actually widely considers Pacquiao to be the number two boxer in the last 20, 30 years.
And he puts Canelo's resume above Pacquiao. You can go ahead and Google that if you don't believe
I don't quite understand when I just threw out the same names and Pacquiao beat some of the names that Canelo did at 154 earlier and more decisively.
Final point.
So, again, Pacquiao got a better resume.
That's all I got.
All right, perfect. Thank you, guys. That's getting fiery. I like it. All three judges, send me your scorecards. Would be much appreciated as soon as you guys can. We're heading into round number 3. The next topic will be, who is the hardest puncher pound for pound in boxing history, specifically between Ernie Shavers and Joe Louis. We'll have Blunts in Boxing begin. Who is the hardest puncher pound for pound in boxing history between Ernie Shavers and Joe Louis?
So, Joe Louis, we're talking about arguably the most accomplished heavyweight in boxing history. What he's most known for, though, is his 25 title defenses at the highest level of boxing, consecutive title defenses. And he knocked out of those guys, 22 of them. And we're talking about the highest level of the sport. And if we go back and actually listen to historians, he is regarded as the hardest puncher pound for pound in boxing history. The guy beat Primo Carnera famously, who was 6'6" and had a 50-pound weight advantage on him. And this was Primo Carnera, the former heavyweight champion. Did so in less than 4 rounds, if I remember correctly. Joe Louis is what inspired Captain America. He is the hardest puncher we've ever seen in boxing history. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for that. How boxing works, minute or so, give or take. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Saying that he fought the top of the division or the in the 30s and 40s, they called it the bum of the month club every time Joe Louis fought. He was padding his stats. Shavers fought in the golden era of heavyweights, 1970 against Ali, Norton, Holmes, prime killers. when you listen to, you said historians will say, fuck the historians. Let's listen to the fighters, the guys that were in the ring with him. He fought better competition in a more stacked era of heavyweight. And every guy that he fought, these are pound for pound Hall of Famers, right? You got Larry Holmes says that Shaver's hits harder than anyone. Mike, including Mike Tyson. Muhammad Ali, after their fight, said he felt like a sledgehammer. He said it was the hardest punch I ever took, worse than Foreman and Liston. George Foreman echoed Ernie Shavers is the hardest punch I ever fought. Joe Louis was his power was technical and cumulative. He had a great jab setup for KOs, but opponents like Max Schmeling and Jersey Joe Walcott never described it as otherworldly. So his own opponents never said he was a big puncher. But you have the greatest heavyweights of all time unanimously all coming together collectively saying this is the hardest puncher of all time. Now let's add to the stats. 68 KOs in 74 wins, 91% KO rate, and these are 1 or 2 punch knockout, 1 or 2 shots to put dudes out, right? Then you got Joe Louis, 52 KOs in 66 wins, 78%. What's better, 91% or 78%? In more fights against tougher competition. This is a very easy argument for me to win. It's nowhere near the same. Like I said, Bum of the Month Club. Go look it up. You'll find out about it.
Thank you for that as well. Much appreciated. Now we're going to have back and forth conversation between the two. 2 minutes or so. Blunts and boxing. You begin. 3, 2, 1.
So you bring up the great fighters that he fought. What of those great fighters did he beat and knock out? Only 2. And that was an old fucking Ken Norton and a Jimmy Ellis. Those dudes weren't at the height of their career, nor would they have been considered to have elite chins. Joe Louis fought literally elite opposition from the time he was a champion all the way until the end and knocked out. Again, out of those 25 world championship level fights, and you used historians earlier,
I'm waiting
and
for
top
names,
10
dog.
rankings by ring. These individuals. Oh, you want me to give names? Max Schmeling, Buddy Bear, all these guys that you really did name, all beat Ernie Shavers.
We can't.
Well,
even
Joe Louis knocked out every dude he faced except for actually one.
You think the 30s and 40s was the best era of heavyweight? You think the
22 of those championship level fights came by way of knockout?
The 30s and
if you look at Ernie Shavers, who he fought and knocked out, look at who he fought and knocked out. A bunch of nobodies, a bunch of low-level fighters between 1 and 6 round fights.
What era of heavyweight?
Ernie Shavers never knocked out an elite prime opponent that was ranked in the top 3, ever.
Okay,
that's the reality.
What era of heavyweight's better, the 40s or the 70s?
That doesn't matter because what Joe Louis did literally transcended the sport.
He knocked out more dudes in a tougher era of heavyweight. And
who did he knock out? Please, who did he knock out? I gave you the 2 names that were elite, but they weren't even elite anymore. They were just names. Jimmy Ellis was 35-7 at that point in time. Ken Norton was at the end of his career and I believe retired afterwards. So we can't say those were elite opposition. While Joe did it against dudes who were ranked in the top 3 by Ring, NBA, which was then the WBA, and he knocked.
Who beat more Hall of Famers?
Oh, are you really trying to say who beat more Hall of Famers? Joe Louis.
No, Ernie Shavers did.
No, again, look it up. Ernie Shavers only defeated 2 elite fighters or even top-ranked guys, Ken Norton, Jimmy Ellis. The other dudes, he all lost to. So you cannot give him wins he did not actually get.
I never did.
On paper, Joe Louis has beaten more Hall of Famers, has the record for most KOs at the championship level and across all sport, all of the sport.
You listed 2 Hall of Famers, but the names on the names on the
James
resume
J. Braddock, who's Cinderella Man.
The names on the resume don't compare. The names on
Jersey
the resume
Joe
don't
Walcott
compare.
knocked him the fuck out. We're talking about literal Hall of Famers, not ones we're just penciling in as Hall of Famers. These are dudes. Go ahead, go to Canastota, and their names are in the Hall of Fame, not the state Hall of Fame, the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Muhammad Ali is the greatest fighter of all time, and he says the hardest
and
punch I ever
Ali, no, that's the hardest punch he ever took. You know who Ali looked up to? Joe Louis.
And he still didn't say that Joe Louis was a harder
because
puncher.
he never took a punch from Joe Louis. Why
Yeah.
would he say that?
I'm aware.
Exactly. So it actually doesn't make a point.
George Foreman
Yes,
could tell you. George Foreman could tell you.
George never fought Joe Louis.
Maybe I'm getting the names mixed up. Hold on.
Again, in all reality, Ernie Shavers was a hard puncher who fought a lot of club level fighters and knocked them out. But when he went to the elite level, was getting in the top 10, he almost always lost, i.e. was never able to connect that heavy punch. Just the reality.
Any more to add from either of you fellas?
I'm good on that one.
Blunts, any more? You're good? All right. So, judges, send me your scorecards for round number 3. Much appreciated. Round 3 comes to a close. Round number 4, the debate will be between, the concept will be, is the 4-belt era hurting or helping boxing? We will have HBW, How Boxing Works, begin. Is the 4-belt era hurting or helping boxing?
I believe that the 4-belt era is definitely helping the sport. It allows for, and I've said this point before on here, but it allows for more competition. It allows for more recognition from guys from all over the world. So it's helping create more opportunities, fluid division movement, and it's elevated boxing's global appeal and structure. With fewer organizations, there's less opportunities for guys, less money generated. This forces cross promotion, boosting pay-per-view numbers and attendance, and boxing's revenue hit $1 billion in 2025, mostly due to the increase in belts. But people like Naoya Inoue, Terrence Crawford, they don't get as many opportunities to move up and down in weights. Guys like Ryan Garcia being able to get all these different title shot opportunities. That's with the 4-belt movement, or the 4-belt era. So it creates more dream matchups. It creates a wider array of appeal or fights for fans to watch. Without as many belts, you have less to look forward to. You just have regular season fights that don't have any meaning behind them. So I think that the 4-belt era, it increases money for the sport, gives guys more opportunities to get paid. And the fees that these sanctioning organizations take, it goes to funding stuff like anti-doping and better safety protocols.
All right. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Blunts and Boxing, minute or so, give or take. You can begin in 3, 2, 1.
So the 4-belt era of boxing, there's pros and cons. And while I think How Boxing Works actually very eloquently did put some great parts of where the 4-belt era is a positive, unfortunately, I feel like there's so many more negatives. Never in the sport's history have we had more titles. And I don't mean just the major titles. I'm talking about the secondary titles. I'm talking about the gold titles, the silver titles, the interim titles, so on and so forth, or the intercontinental titles. I can keep going. The issue with the 4-belt era is it has become convoluted. Nobody really knows, outside of the exceptions of the 4-belt undisputed champions, who the best fighter is. And the reason being, and often spoken about by the fighters themselves, why do I want to pay 12% sanctioning fees, 3% for every sanctioning body in order to prove that I am the best by getting undisputed? For us fans, yes, it means something. But to these fighters, it gets them to pick and choose and make decisions that do not benefit the fighter-wise of the future fighters or the fans and the future of the sport. It devalues what world titles mean, world title championship means.
All right. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Now we'll have back and forth conversation. How Boxing Works, you begin. 3, 2, 1.
I think the interim belts are needed. It brings a much needed spotlight to prospects. A lot of these guys you'll never know about, but if he's an interim champion, now you're like, oh, maybe this guy's got something there. Data shows that quality's up with more belts. Average CompuBox punches per title fights rose 15% since 2010.
Because there's never been more titles in boxing.
It's because the competition is better. It's because
become
there's more
convoluted.
competition. It's because there's more
There's actually
competition.
not.
But
There's equally, there's an equal amount.
The data shows that
And
fight quality is higher because of the belts. That means the sport is better. Fans are getting a better product.
What data actually shows it outside of the fact that
this is CompuBox.
never before in our sports history, well, CompuBox is picking punches in a fight. That's almost saying that welterweight right now in the 4-belt era is more impressive than the 4-belt.
Generated more money.
Era.
The question is the 4-belt era hurting or helping boxing?
Generating money does not exactly tell us it makes the sport better by having 4 belts. Saying the revenue of the sport is not telling us how the 4 belts make it better.
We're just going to keep talking over each other, but the 4 belts increase revenue because and increase the fighters, because fighters don't have programs like a retirement or stuff to fall back on. The percentage that they pay those,
there is no retirement for there's not in sanctioning bodies.
There's not retirement. No, but they have stuff in place that helps fighters, like they've been paying for
How so? When Donald Curry, a former champion, was just reaching out over online because he had dementia issues because of the sport and needing financial assistance. How?
And that's what
did any of those belts organizations go out to help him? No, they didn't. Lou DiBella famously had to go help Donald Curry, his former fighter.
I can't speak for every person, but I can tell you that those are in place. That money does go to those things.
It doesn't mean we actually ever see it allocated to those fighters because we've seen more fighters.
I've seen it myself with Julio Cesar Chavez. You can do the research and find out what fighters have been helped from this.
How did the sanctioning bodies help Chavez?
Let me get my point
confused.
Across. The question is the 4-belt era hurting or helping the sport? The money that generated from these 4 belts goes to helping the fighters. More money is being generated because there's more belts, as I just stated with the facts, and the fight quality is higher. Is it helping or hurting the sport? Everything I've listed so far
there's nothing that tells us that the fight quality is higher than what it was years ago.
Not just
there's
for the
nothing
fighters
that tells
getting
us
paid more,
that.
but the fans are getting a better
How
product.
does that tell us anything pertaining to how it improves fights?
I just told
you
more
belts. It literally doesn't.
It says, is the 4-belt era hurting or helping boxing?
I'm not using AI. I'm using my brain. There's nothing that has shown us in the history of the sport that the 4-belt era has improved.
I just gave you stats.
It has created more opportunity for fighters, yes, which is great for fighters, but for the sport itself,
yes, for the sport,
it has actually done the opposite.
For fans, you're getting a better product. For fighters, you're getting paid more. For the sanctioning bodies, you're getting a more percentages paid out to you that are going to go to help support programs that are going to help fighters in the future. And on every aspect, it's helping the sport.
We don't see that at all. And that's what's so ironic about it. And that's why we just had Terrence Crawford, one of the most famous fighters right now, literally call out the sanctioning body.
Chavez's medication. The WBC
we just had, and famously, let's not forget Floyd Mayweather, who was critical of the sanctioning bodies because of what they take and don't show to actually do.
They don't help out. You just told me they don't, and these programs.
No, and I'm actually.
So how do you pay for these fighters to get this help?
By saying
how do you
we
pay
have
for
famously had fighters
without that 15%?
Famously had some of the most.
How do you get fighters this help without collecting that money? Where does it come from?
Well, that's the point I'm making. Is there's nothing that shows us that they actually do. We have fighters to this day who have to go online for assistance. No, you gave me what the WBC. What does he say? You keep using these very blanket statements with no supporting evidence. You said legitimately Jose Cesar Chavez says so. I told you we just saw evidence last year of Donald Curry, former world champion, go out and say he needed help because he was so badly diminished mentally.
Tell him to go apply, but the stuff is there. It's there.
Oh, so have him go apply. We can bring up the issues with the sanctioning bodies and the fact that these sanctioning bodies that you just famously brought up with Ryan Garcia, who lost his world title fight after testing positive for PEDs, was able to come back from a suspension and fight for a world title. Loses and then gives him another world title. How is that good for the sport?
On every aspect, they get paid more. We see better fights. That sounds like help to me. That's all I got to say, though.
Any final points, fellas, or we're good?
No, we good.
All right, perfect. So send me your scorecards, judges. Much appreciated. That is the final round number 4. Victor, Homa Boxing, both send me your scorecards, please. And I'll give you guys our announcement for that. Give me one moment. Good stuff from both of you fellas. I'm glad to have you both on. Very back and forth, very high level.
See, I like how boxing works. That's how you debate. Thank you. That was a great debate.
You came with it. I'm worried.
3.
I was fucking up on heavyweights. My mind just couldn't process who Shavers fought. And I didn't have.
Fuck, I'm the same way with Joe because we started arguing, and I know Joe's resume so well, and somehow I started blanking some of the very important names. So I give you that.
I'm 26, man. My heavyweight knowledge is Fury and Wilder.
All right, fellas.
I mean, I know about it, but I didn't live it.
So we go to the score totals. First judge, Spit Bucket Podcast, scores about 38-38 even. Homa Boxing scores about 39-38. And Vic scores about 39-37 for a winner by majority decision victory. Blunts and Boxing gets the job done by majority decision.
Well deserved. I felt like I lost that one.
Great debate, bro. You came on really strong.
It was a fantastic debate, man. It was a great debate.
Those first 2 rounds made it tough. Round 3 was closer. Round 4, I felt you won, but Blunts gets the nod. Very competitive majority decision. Let me quickly add these guys to the stage before anything. We could go whatever order is necessary. Victor, you can go first. You scored it 39-37 for Blunts and Boxing. Can you just give us a really quick recap of your score total? If he's not there, we'll
yeah. You hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember all the questions. I gotta be kind of quick because I'm at work, but I thought it was pretty close. With the heavyweight one, I had to give that to Blunts because how boxing works kind of messed up with like knowing who fought who and whatever, but it's all right, I thought I gave how boxing works the last round because I did like his points about the 4 belts. I do believe that it is helping out boxing. I like what he said about that. And I forget the other 2, but I gave those.
There was just the Canelo versus Pacquiao one and Canelo Triple G.
Oh yes. I liked what Blunt said about how Canelo struggled with the older Golovkin. So how can we say that he would do just as good, or that he would beat a younger Golovkin? I really liked what he said about that. And then I also liked how he brought up Manny Pacquiao's resume and all the Hall of Famers that he beat before Canelo did. So. Yeah.
Solid. Much appreciated, Vic. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you. We'll talk with you soon. And thanks for helping out. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
JJ Solomon, the myth, the legend himself, the one and only. You had this one a draw, 38-38. Let's hear your thoughts and your scorecard, my friend.
Yeah, man. I know you keep saying really quick, but these gentlemen did a hell of a job, and I want to do it justice. Like, I have a page full of notes. Like, I don't know if y'all can see it, but both of y'all did a hell of a job, dog. So it was like a tale of two halves for me, because for me, I had Blunt winning rounds 1 and 2 and How Boxing Works rounds 3 and 4. But round 1, when How Boxing Works said Canelo would be moving more, like we've never seen Canelo really be an effective mover. Like you kept comparing other fighters that are not Triple G, man. Like you kept dropping names. And then fighter, hold on, I'm reading up my notes. Let's see. Okay, that one was an easy one for me to score. Round 2, best resume. That one was a hell of a round. Hold on, let me look at my notes. I know you kept focusing on how boxing works. You kept focusing on pound for pound, bro. But when you're fighting in an era when Floyd Mayweather is in it, dude, you can't like just lean on number 1. Mayweather is Mayweather. Let me see other big notes. Pound for pound has nothing really to do with resume. Pound for pound at the time is more of a snapshot of right now, while resume is what have you done. When Blunt and Boxing said lineal means more than undisputed ever will, that is, at least for me, man, you struck a chord. How Boxing Works focused too much on Manny's pound for pound. Yeah, so those were my notes from round 2. But then How Boxing Works, you woke up. even though you messed up round 3 on the Ernie, I think you may have been mistaken Ernie Shavers for Ron Lyle. I think maybe, but I think you did a hell of a job of talking about the greatest, man, Muhammad Ali. I don't think you necessarily have to, because you kept talking blunts and boxing. You kept talking about the wins and losses. You don't necessarily, like Deontay Wilder, for example, is one of the hardest punchers we've ever seen, but you can't just base it on wins and losses. And I think when Muhammad Ali says it, 91% knockout ratio, I just had to lean that towards how boxing works. Actually, I had this 10-8 for how boxing works until the whenever you realize like George Foreman never fought Shavers, I had to go and correct it. And then the last round, 4 belts, is it hurting or helping? I gave that to how boxing works because 2 times you had Blunts actually acknowledge that it increased revenue and that it gives more opportunities for fighters. And that, I mean, I don't care what you say, that's better for boxing. And whatever side you lie on, you got your opponent to acknowledge 2 very important points. So hell of a job, fellas. Good job, man. And congrats. You knocked off a champ, Blunts and boxing.
Yeah, got me.
Thank you
Caught
very
me
much,
slipping.
JJ. Much appreciate JJ for the rundown. We really appreciate having you, and I'll talk with you soon, my friend. Thank
Later,
you, brother.
fellas.
All right, and the final judge before we get the 2 opponents against each other. Homa Boxing, really quickly, you had it 39-38 for Blunts and Boxing, so you had him nicking it out. Can you quickly explain your scorecard for me, my friend?
Oh yeah, hello. I'm not as good as Spit Bucket. He's really good at judging. I try to take some notes like him as well. And I'll start round by round. But yeah, it was a really good one. It was a close one. I really wasn't sure who would pull it off until towards the end. That's when I figured it out. But so I'll start off round by round. In the first round, Blunts and Boxing felt like I felt like he was able to get his point out, and the question that was asked, he was actually able to talk about it more. While how Spit Bucket was saying how boxing works, was talking about other boxers. He wasn't really focusing on the question, which was Triple G. And then round 2, it was a close round. That one I had it at 10-10. Both of you guys knew how to answer each other. Both of you guys had good rebuttals going back and forth. Both of you guys did not know how to back down, to be honest. So that was good on your guys. And then round 3, I had a 10-9. Blunts and Boxing. Both had good statistics. The only thing that I felt like Blunts and Boxing came out off top. He came off the dome, off the brain, and then how boxing works. I saw you were like looking at your computer, which I think might have messed you up a bit. You ran out of some time to get your points out. And then in the last round, I had it for how boxing works. I really felt like you had valid points. How the Spit Bucket was saying, you gave out good examples on how fighters do get help and how it does actually help fighters. And maybe it doesn't help all of them, but at the end of the day, it still is helping. So that was a good, valid point.
Much appreciated, Boxing.
Check the scores. And I know which rounds I lost.
Oh yeah, you guys did a heck of a job. I appreciate you guys letting me be a judge, and I can't wait to see how the finals go.
My $100 took my $100.
All right, how boxing works. The former champ still did a tremendous job in this tournament. Can you just talk to us a little bit of a rundown? How you feeling? Thoughts on the debate, etc.
It was fun, man. I always have a great time doing this and hearing everybody's perspective. I'm proud of you, Blunts. I'm like, I'm gonna run through everybody, but nah, man, you came stop me in my tracks. Hell of a job, man. You know you're boxing and you're an OG in this, so like I don't take any. I don't feel bad, man. Like you got it, man. You got it. There's always more to learn. I'm always a student of the game, and if you can prove me wrong, please do. So I love this, and I want to be a part of it again. And actually, I would like to judge one of these.
Oh, okay, nice. We'll talk. Yeah. You'll 100% be involved in the next one. It's really on your call if you'd rather judge or compete for the next one. So we'll talk about it one-on-one, and whatever you want to do, you'll 100% be involved. It's always great to have you, brother. And
thank you. Blunts and Billionaire. Oh shit,
that's a great match. You'll probably have your popcorn for that one. You'll probably have your popcorn for that one, man.
I'll be tuning in. Thank you guys for having me, man. This is how boxing works.
Of course, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye. And Blunts in boxing, you get the job done. Majority decision against a great debater, a great opponent, a former champ. How are you feeling right now? You'll be taking on Billionaire Boxing. Just give us a full rundown.
I'm feeling great. It was again a great debate. How boxing works. He's very knowledgeable for being as young as he is. Much like yourself, Max, where you guys constantly impress me. I've been watching boxing for 20 years, and there was a period of time where I became so obsessed with the sport, I would carry a notebook with me and watch old fights. That's just how I learned, the sports history myself, and just watching those old fights. One thing I want to say before the end of this, just so you guys can and everybody else, please go watch Joe Louis. That is the guy who inspired so many of our grandparents and inspired the next generation of athletes. And not just that, again, he was the original Captain America. He was what inspired Captain America. We should know this guy. Everybody who watches boxing should know who Joe Louis is. Thank you, Max. I appreciate you.
Of course, my friend. Great to have you, man. We got Billionaire already coming in the chat. You love to see it. I can't wait for this debate. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're planning to do it next week, 5 rounds. Thank you so much for coming on, Blunts. We'll talk soon, and I'll see you in the finals, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Always, my friend. All right, guys. We come to a close for this round of debates. We have our final matchup, Blunts and Boxing taking on Billionaire Boxing TV. I cannot wait for it. This was a great round of debates, 2 majority decisions. So both debates are competitive and entertaining. And I'll see you guys in the finals. The plan is to do it next Sunday, exact same time, January 25th. And it'll be 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's the plan. If anything changes, I'll keep you updated. But much appreciated, guys. We'll talk soon. Everyone have a good one. God bless.